we were standing up to Hitler.
In a daring and highly successful raid, British and Norwegian forces swept down on the Lofoten Islands off Narvik. We sank 18,000 tons of enemy merchant shipping and took over 220 prisoners. Stinging blows like this are swinging the war of nerves against Hitler.
As the euphoria of success wore off, the world viewed the raid on the Lofotens as a vital morale booster, but with little strategic value. Only a handful of people knew the true significance of this raid, how a chance discovery here would help change the course of the Second World War.
While the ships were blazing in the harbour over there, a group of brave British soldiers managed to get aboard an armed German trawler called the Krebs, which was out there between that big rock and the shore. Before it sank, they managed to recover a priceless prize, a set of wheels like these, top secret rotors from a German Enigma encoding machine.
Type a letter on the Enigma machine and it made these gear wheels rotate, producing a message you could only read with another machine with the rotors set the same way. Not only were rotors captured in the Lofoten raid, they also got hold of an Enigma codebook. All were sent back to Bletchley Park, the British code-breaking centre.
These were vital parts of the puzzle, helping finally to crack the Enigma code, shortening the war and saving countless lives.
The Lofoten archipelago is made up of 6 main islands which sit deep within the Arctic Circle. These waters aren't as cold as you might imagine. They're washed by the warm Gulf Stream, which attracts huge shoals of cod, and the fishermen to catch them. The town of Svolvær is dotted with evidence of the boom times of cod fishing.
Huts like these were built to accommodate an army of fishermen, thousands of them, sleeping 2 or even 3 to a bunk. They came every winter when the cod, in their millions, arrived in the waters of the north of Norway.
With a big bounty of fish suddenly landing in their laps, they needed a way to preserve it. So the fish were tied in pairs and hung in the air to dry. It's an age-old method for making fast food that the Vikings knew all about. Right then, this is the dried cod. Every March, these huge rats are festooned with the fresh fish and it dries in the wind. This is what the Vikings took with them on their epic voyages, because once it's dried, it's preserved and it'll last a long time. Now, believe it or not, I was supposed to eat a bit of this after first tenderising it by beating it with this hammer, but I've eaten some things in my time, but I draw the line. This is beyond rank. I'll tell you, if this is what the Vikings ate, as well as being terrifyingly violent, they must have had breath that would stun a monkey. The Vikings didn't just keep the dry cod for themselves, they traded it with other countries.
You don't really think of the Vikings as fish salesmen, but as Christianity became more and more established in Britain, the church began to discourage the eating of meat on Fridays, so fish was on the menu instead. Of course, fresh fish stocks started to fall, and dried cod was in demand.
Trading cod with countries like Britain helped make the Vikings rich enough to indulge in some grand designs. Here in the Lofotens, they've reconstructed a Viking chieftain's longhouse, based on evidence from archaeological remains nearby. You could say it's the replica of a house that Cod built.
Hello, Margareta.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Archaeologist Margareta Rabos is going to show me around.
So what happens in here then? It looks like a bit of everything.
Yeah, this is what we believe has been the living quarters, where most of the everyday life has been going on here.
How many people would have, lived and worked in this building?
It's really hard to say, but an estimate is between 70 and 80,
Right.
80 people.
That's a big group.
Yeah. This is the Great Hall, and this room has been the political and social center also.
So this is the
chieftain.
heart,
Yes.
the beating heart of the community
Yes.
here. What was found by the archaeologists on the actual site?
They found everyday tools and things like that, but also really precious imported items like glass and pottery. There were glass imported from Britain found here.
These artefacts of commerce and conflict show there were two sides to the Vikings. We know they were warlike, but they didn't just come to Britain to raid, they also came to trade. The Norwegians have preserved the heritage of their seafaring ancestors who reached out from this shore to Britain and beyond. Records of their voyages were written down in the great Norse sagas. Reading about it's all very well,
But if I really want to find out about how the Vikings got around, I've got to get aboard one of these.
this beautiful clinker-built longship is modern, but it's made to an ancient blueprint, and the feeling on board is authentic and timeless.
On a Viking longship on a fjord in Norway. Brilliant.
Listening to the old Viking song, I'm reminded of what we found on our trip to Norway. That memories of our shared histories across the North Sea keep this country and our own fundamentally linked. Our landscapes shaped by ice, our common thirst for energy, our reliance on the sea, and the bond of blood between seafaring folk whose lives have touched in friendship and in war. Next time on Coast, we follow the Vikings back to the east coast of England, where Mark Horton meets the onslaught. Miranda's battling with birds, while me and some tough lassies wrestle with a lifeboat.